Last week, a patient ended up in the hospital because of 3-day-old rice. She was a healthy 34-year-old mother of two who thought leftovers were safe as long as they smelled fine. She was wrong, and what happened to her happens to thousands of Americans every year who trust their nose over food science. Margaret had prepared a large batch of fried rice on Sunday evening, storing the leftovers in a plastic container she had used for years. The rice looked perfect on Wednesday night when she reheated it for dinner. 2 hours later, she was experiencing violent stomach cramps that sent her to the emergency room. I am Dr. Jonathan Hale, and after 3 decades of treating food poisoning cases that could have been prevented, I need to tell you something uncomfortable. Your refrigerator is not the safe zone you think it is. The appliance you trust to keep your family safe may actually be creating conditions for bacterial multiplication that most people never consider. Every week in my clinic, families tell me about their meal prep routines, their leftover strategies, their money-saving habits. They believe they are being responsible. Then they describe symptoms that tell me exactly what went wrong in their kitchen. The nausea that started 6 hours after dinner. The abdominal cramps that woke them at 3 in the morning. The dehydration that required IV fluids. These are not random occurrences. They are predictable outcomes of storage practices that ignore basic food safety principles that most people were never taught properly. Before I show you the 5 most dangerous foods sitting in refrigerators right now, you need to understand what most people get wrong about food safety. It is not about smell. It is not about appearance. It is not about the 24-hour rule your grandmother taught you. It is about something called bacterial doubling time, and it is happening in your refrigerator whether you know it or not. Understanding this concept will change how you think about every leftover you have ever stored. Bacteria are not like mold, which you can see growing on bread or cheese. Pathogenic bacteria multiply invisibly, producing toxins that remain active even after you reheat food to temperatures that kill the bacteria themselves. This is why reheating does not guarantee safety, and why so many families get sick from food that tastes completely normal. In my practice, I see the same pattern repeatedly. Someone eats reheated leftovers that smell fine, taste fine, and appear completely safe. Within 4 to 12 hours, they develop symptoms ranging from mild stomach discomfort to severe dehydration requiring hospitalization. The bacteria may be dead from reheating, but their toxic byproducts remain active in the digestive system. When I evaluate food storage practices with patients, I look at 5 critical factors: temperature accuracy, container materials, timing protocols, cross-contamination risks, and storage duration limits. Most people fail at least 3 of these without realizing it. First, let me address the temperature myth that leads to more foodborne illness than any other single misconception. Your refrigerator should maintain 37 degrees Fahrenheit consistently, not 40 degrees, not 42 degrees, 37 degrees or lower. I have tested dozens of home refrigerators in my patients' kitchens, and fewer than 20% maintain proper temperatures consistently. Most home refrigerators run between 40 and 45 degrees, creating what food scientists call the danger zone, where bacterial multiplication accelerates exponentially. In that temperature range, bacteria doubles every 20 minutes under optimal conditions. Every 20 minutes. That leftover chicken you stored at 42 degrees contains 16 times more bacteria after just 80 minutes than when you put it away. After 3 hours, the bacterial count is increased by over 4,000 times. The mathematics are frightening when you consider how long most families store leftovers. A dish stored for 48 hours at improper temperatures can contain millions of bacteria per gram, levels that overwhelm the immune system and guarantee illness. Second, container materials matter more than most people realize. Plastic containers leach chemicals when they contact warm food. Glass containers maintain temperature stability better and do not interact with acidic foods like tomato-based sauces. But here is what really concerns me: the storage duration limits that most families ignore completely. Let me walk you through the 5 most dangerous leftover foods I see causing problems in my practice. At number 5, cooked rice and grain dishes represent one of the most underestimated food safety risks in American kitchens. Rice contains spores of Bacillus cereus, bacteria that survive normal cooking temperatures and remain dormant until conditions become favorable for multiplication. When rice sits at room temperature or in inadequately cooled refrigerators, these spores activate and multiply rapidly, producing heat-stable toxins that reheating cannot eliminate. The toxins cause 2 distinct illness patterns: immediate nausea and vomiting within 1 to 6 hours, or delayed abdominal cramps and diarrhea 8 to 24 hours after consumption. The patient I mentioned earlier, Margaret, had stored rice in a plastic container for 3 days at 44 degrees. She reheated it thoroughly before eating, reaching internal temperatures well above bacterial kill zones. The bacteria were dead, but their toxins were still active and concentrated. 6 hours later, she experienced severe vomiting and abdominal pain that required IV fluid replacement. Rice dishes mixed with vegetables, proteins, or sauces present even higher risks because these additions provide additional nutrients that accelerate bacterial growth. Fried rice, rice pilaf, and rice casseroles should never be stored longer than 24 hours under any circumstances. Number 4 brings us to pasta salads and mayonnaise-based dishes. Mayonnaise creates an ideal environment for bacterial growth when temperature control fails. The eggs, oil, and acidic components interact unpredictably during storage. I have treated multiple cases of salmonella poisoning from pasta salads stored longer than 48 hours. The mayonnaise masks early signs of spoilage, and families consume contaminated food believing it tastes normal. At number 3, cooked seafood and fish preparations. Seafood deteriorates faster than any other protein category. The cellular structure breaks down rapidly, creating conditions where bacteria thrive even under refrigeration. Shrimp, crab, and fish should never be stored longer than 24 hours after cooking. I have seen serious cases of scombroid poisoning from day-old salmon that appeared and smelled acceptable. Number 2 is leftover soup and broth-based dishes. Liquids distribute bacteria evenly throughout the entire volume. When soup cools slowly or is stored in large containers, the center remains in the danger zone for extended periods. Bone broths and cream-based soups present additional risks because they provide ideal nutrients for bacterial multiplication. Many families store soup for 5 to 7 days, creating serious contamination risks. The number 1 most dangerous leftover food is roasted chicken and poultry dishes. Whole birds cool unevenly, with interior portions remaining warm long after the surface appears cold. This extended cooling period allows bacteria to multiply deep within the meat. Carved chicken, stored in plastic containers, often develop salmonella and campylobacter contamination within 48 hours, even under proper refrigeration. The bone-in portions present the highest risk because heat transfer is slowest there. Now let me share the 3 storage methods that actually work when you follow them precisely. Method number 3 is rapid cooling protocols. Divide large portions into shallow containers immediately after cooking. Food should reach refrigerator temperature within 2 hours maximum. Use ice baths for soups and stews to accelerate cooling. Method number 2 involves proper container selection and labeling. Glass containers with tight-fitting lids for all acidic foods. Date labels on everything, with storage duration limits clearly marked. Never stack warm containers, which prevents proper cooling. The number 1 safest storage method is the 48-hour maximum rule with temperature verification. Store nothing longer than 48 hours, regardless of appearance or smell. Use a refrigerator thermometer to verify 37-degree temperatures consistently. But here is what I really want you to understand. These protocols work only when you follow them completely. Partial compliance creates false confidence while maintaining real risks. Check your refrigerator temperature tonight using an appliance thermometer, not the built-in dial that may be inaccurate. If it runs above 38 degrees, adjust it immediately and verify the change with multiple measurements over 24 hours. Review everything currently stored in your refrigerator. Discard anything older than 48 hours, regardless of appearance, smell, or cost. The money lost on discarded food is negligible compared to medical expenses from foodborne illness. Look at your storage containers with new awareness. Replace plastic containers that show scratches, stains, or persistent odors. These defects create microscopic crevices where bacteria survive normal washing and multiply during storage. Examine your cooling practices honestly. Large portions need division into smaller containers for rapid cooling. Hot food needs ice baths before refrigeration to prevent extended time in danger zone temperatures. Dense foods, like casseroles, need shallow pans for proper heat transfer throughout the entire volume. Invest in proper equipment. Glass storage containers with airtight lids, an accurate refrigerator thermometer, and labels that allow you to track storage times precisely. These tools cost less than a single emergency room visit and provide protection for years. When patients ask me whether extending leftover food storage is worth the financial savings, I remind them of something important that emergency rooms see regularly. Food poisoning is not just temporary discomfort. Severe cases can cause lasting intestinal damage, dehydration requiring hospitalization, kidney stress from toxin processing, and complications that affect health and medical expenses for months afterward. The money you save by extending food storage beyond safe limits does not justify the medical costs, lost work time, and health impacts of foodborne illness. Fresh food preparation costs less than emergency medical treatment and provides better nutrition without contamination risks. Your refrigerator should preserve food safely, not create health hazards through inadequate storage practices. The difference between safe and dangerous leftovers comes down to following temperature, timing, and container protocols without exceptions or shortcuts. Make informed decisions based on food science rather than convenience, assumptions, or financial pressure. Your family's health depends on understanding that your refrigerator is only as safe as the practices and standards you consistently apply to everything you store there. If this information changes how you think about the leftovers in your kitchen tonight, you are not alone. Every week, Patients tell me they never considered these risks before understanding the science behind food storage safety. The most important step is not perfection, but consistent application of proven protocols that protect your family from preventable illness. Start with temperature verification, move to proper containers, and establish storage time limits that prioritize health over convenience. These changes require minimal investment, but provide maximum protection for the people you care about most.